So, just going to have a rant today because it's gone. All you ever tried to do was lawtard your way out of things and not realise the reality of the situation your entire country's in. You keep failing because you're selfish. And it's because it's all about the stupid shit you keep getting into. And you scramble for all these law tidbits to use in the magistrate's court against a bunch of criminals that are going to uphold the Hague Conventions. Or should do. Can't say much for the Australian Defence Force doing that with Ben Roberts-Smith and his Whiskey 108 patrol. But that's the basic premise here. They create legislation to collect debts off you. And they uphold that legislation in the courtrooms. And you try and weasel your way out of all of that stuff because you're a bunch of criminals. You keep getting into shit, keep ending up in courtrooms, keep trying to manipulate the system to your false ideologies. And here we go around in circles time and time and time again. And I'm exhausted. You've exhausted me out of every want to even try to show you the truth anymore. Because you've come up with your truths, with your opinions that go over and above the facts beneath them. And you constantly do it. You believe everything your Anzac were is satanic. You believe everything God is Satan. Maybe some foreign administering power based in the IMF and your requirement to borrow money from them are responsible for mind manipulating you out of your gods. Well, they go and do their gods and you remain without, because you believe everything that is the foundation of your country is based in Satan. This just demonstrates you have no idea about the scripture at all. You've never read it. You've never prepared you or your family. You've never stood up and spoken the truth because all you can do is push around your lawtard opinions. You have no idea where the sovereignty of this country was forged. So you gave it up. You forgot. You lost it. It's gone. You abandoned it. You abandoned it to play all these stupid games in the courtrooms against an administrative system that's obligated to the Hague and Geneva Conventions. You don't even realise how or why that occurred. I keep going around and around and around and around in circles, always ending up back at square one. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You don't seem to realise the monopoly boards that run your councils. You don't seem to realise what's going on at all. And I've tried to show you. You overwrite what's being shown to you with your own opinions, therefore negating the actual education you could be learning. You already know, but you know fuck all. You know fuck all. How come I can sit in a courtroom and graciously be told by a justice of the district court that he sees a lawyer in front of him? I mocked that justice and told him I wasn't a lawyer. Otherwise I'd turn out like the prosecutor standing on the other side. But that's the grace that I saw for being professional about it, while you all scramble to get out of the criminal offences you yourselves commit. Oh, I'm not responsible to all of those laws. They're run by a foreign power. Did you ever read the Hague Conventions? No. Did you ever read any of these things and surmise a case for yourselves. No. You went on the internet scrambling everywhere to get every little tidbit of information from all these failed people in the past. You can't even surmise a case of law. We saw that with the fat idiot and the guy wearing his wife beater, pushing those ideologies of Dick Yardley. We've already gone through this. Why should I go through it again and again and again and again? Someone brought up Romley Stewart. Now, Romley's work is 1% of the truth. And a judge said to me once, if you speak one nonsense in a courtroom, it makes everything you speak nonsense. And you go looking around for all this nonsense, trying to put a court case together as illiterate tards, incapable of walking into a courtroom and being a lawyer, a solicitor, or a barrister. King's Counsel might know things that are so far above you, you haven't even given credit to the fact that they exist. You have no idea about the College of Arms. You have no idea about your own family histories. It's gone. You abandoned it all. You failed not only yourselves, but your country. 75 years of peacekeeping. What did that mean? That they celebrated that anniversary. What that meant was 75 years of debt collecting your stupid asses on behalf of the IMF through the United Nations. You agreed to go and pay debts without going to war. That was the big change in the last century. You agreed as nations all around the world, countries all around the world with national governments to not go to war, to collect debts off each other. So you get policed into debt collection by an administrator state that you can't even see. 75 years of debt collecting off your stupid asses. Because you know nothing more than borrowed currencies. The Reserve Bank. And the Reserve Bank said, you're all fine. We're going to push interest rates up. And since they said that, they've done that twice. 0.25 each time, making that 0.5% interest, making your mortgages more expensive. Now, on the average $250,000 mortgage, that's $100 a month more you have to pay. And when you look at cities like Sydney, where homes are now over $1 million, that's an extra $400 you have to pay. And you can't work this out. You keep scrambling around as the lowest caste of society, trying to get out of all your crimes like bogans, while your entire country is manipulated by an administrator to squeeze everything out of you to pay your debts. And you can't work this out. So you keep getting in debt to the point where your country won't exist in the way your Anzac built it for you. It hasn't existed in that way since the early 1980s. You have no idea that the Australia Act usurped the states from your Commonwealth. You have no idea that the Statute of Westminster Adoption Act returned you back to English monarchy because you were unable to stand on your own 2 feet. You have no idea the treason that occurred in 1939 by pushing you into World War II. You have no idea about Vietnam. You have no idea about any of this stuff. You have no idea about your own family and its coat of arms. You don't know what a ward of the state actually means. You believe you can create all these new ways to do things that a court's going to agree with. You've lost it all. And you believe Pauline Hanson is going to fix it all for you? The IMF was installed in 1947, a direct date alignment with 75 years of peacekeeping. Now you're in 85 years of peacekeeping. Because you don't know anything else. You can't stand with God because you serve Mammon. Right? You can't comprehend the difference between Mammon and God. You can't comprehend the difference between our moneylender and your sovereignty. You believe that you're a national country and gave up your federal standing in that country. How do you think a government came to be in the first place? It's impossible for a government to create everything when you as men created the Constitution to limit your government. But you don't comprehend this. So I don't know what to say anymore. I show you the foundations of your country with God, and it's Satan. You don't know how that works because none of you ever paid attention. Or he just talks in riddles. No, your brain's so full of lawtard, you're trying to add to that lawtard instead of actually comprehend that you're lawtarding. And it has nothing to do with God. That's your problem right there. You're trying to build up this library of stuff without comprehending the foundations where it was all born from. So you disregard that. And because you disregard that very key foundation to all of it, everything you speak is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And you peddle it around the internet all the time. There comes to a point where your egos have got the better of you and you deserve everything you've got. You had an opportunity to realise what you were as a people. All peoples have a right of self-determination, not individuals. It was up to you to stand in the lineage of your forefathers before you did everything else. But instead, you chose to go and get in shit with the police, who would have left you alone a little bit if you showed some grace in the matter. But you never do. Ever. Ever. You never ever show grace in the matter. You're all better than. You're better than. You know all the law, and then you walk into a courtroom and get laughed at. Whereas I got called a lawyer by a justice of the District Court of Queensland because I was capable of putting something to the court that demonstrated foundations that brought about that law in the first place. But you don't comprehend this. You don't comprehend this at all. You waste your time studying all this crap, which means you'll never comprehend your history, where you came from, how you abandoned it, because you're scrambling to play in all of that legislation that was born from it. You don't understand your constitution. You don't follow it. You don't follow it. You expect politicians of an administrating power to follow it when it has no obligation to follow it. You're the hostile country under the Hague Conventions, the one it administers. And you can't figure this out while you all hate each other. All those hate laws were brought out because they knew they would manipulate you into hating each other, and it's beginning in politics today. Dividing you, pitting you against each other constantly because you have no idea where you came from. No idea at all. Oh, but that stone, what about it? You know nothing about it. You can't correlate that to the scripture. You can't even define why it's there and what it does. And I mean what it does. It wasn't just put there as a memorial. Your claim of right is defined in that building. And you can't fathom this. You're unable to demonstrate any of it. And all this time later, what'd you gather? You gathered all these tards that needed to get out of shit instead of looking at all those families out there that are suffering at the hands of the Reserve Bank on behalf of the IMF. Try to prop up your fake currency. That currency is collapsing. And they are doing everything in their power, America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, to prop up that debt currency. Is it any wonder you've lost all your railways, coal mines, copper mines, uranium mines, electricity grids, prisons, seaports, airports, all privatised? Because those things run better in private hands, right? As soon as they're in private hands, double the price. To raise money off all of you. To help an economy pay its debts. Because you're incapable of seeing all of this stuff. 50% of the country's been given to the Aboriginal in native land title claims. Now put into land councils on behalf of Aboriginal land trusts created by this administrative government, administering you out of everything you are because you've got nothing left to pay your debts with. All your agriculture manipulated under the Lima Agreement. All your mining privatised and taken over. All your forestry in forestry corporations and privatised and taken over. All your fishing turned into national park trusts that were then turned into Aboriginal land trusts after your national park trust collapsed and was divvied up for more mining. You can't fathom this. You never ever fathom what's going on. It's whine and whine and whine. At the politicians that poisoned you all, put you in lockdowns, put jackboots on your streets, made sure you were imprisoned in your own homes, told you that you'd remember what was before and what was after that whole lockdown period. You can't fathom this. You can't add all this up together to see a problem. You whine at each individual thing and believe people like Pauline Hanson are going to fix it. And Pauline Hanson's been warned for 15 years about all this stuff. Does she ever address it? No. Never ever addresses the real problem you face. Because who pays her a good coin to act like that muppet in the One Israel party, the Zionist party? You can't even see the treason that they committed in office. You can't even stand up against Lydia, who committed an open act of treason to King Charles III while taking oath. A foreign king to your crown. a foreign realm to what your Anzac sealed in the Treaty of Versailles. You have no idea at all. So you gave it all up. You kissed it all goodbye. I'd rather play all this lawtard against magistrates who work for the Hague Conventions. I'd shake my head now. I think it's better to point out all of your stupid than to actually show you the truth, because you're more invested in all of your stupid. You're more invested in all of this name game bullshit instead of realising what a ward of the state that needs guardianing actually means. No idea. Zero clue. So where do you go from here? You lose. You can't even see why war crimes was even a thing in Afghanistan. You can't even see that they tried to get out of it. You can't even see that they manipulated the levels of government that are in administration to try and get out of war crimes committed by the Department of Defense in Afghanistan. You wholeheartedly serve what they give you to serve. You can't even see that Ben Roberts-Smith is guilty of a war crime, and they failed to charge him with that war crime. There is enough circumstantial evidence on the table to put at least 6 more of those Australian soldiers before the Hague. You can't even see it. You're so wholeheartedly in defence of the things that are committing those crimes against you, poisoning all of you in a lockdown, and you sit there on your hands doing nothing about it. All you can do is respond. Oh, all the education people are pedophiles. Are they? Where's your proof? Oh, everyone's linked to Epstein. Are they? Where's your proof? You don't even know what that proof actually means. It means that those administrators went outside of their rules of engagement while occupying your country. War crimes. Can't even see it. So at some point, everything I've shown you just went in one ear and out the other because you were more interested in lawtarding your way through your life instead of standing loyal as countrymen together in the lineage of your Anzac and turning around to an administrator and saying, we're a self-determined people, we don't need your help anymore. Instead, you lap up everything they give you because you need to be nannied. Nannied. You gave up your councils. They all closed and turned into super councils managed by one large district. They spend all their money on investments inside the city district instead of the outskirts, so they don't fix your roads, don't do anything for you. They sell your land for big things like high-rises and massive swimming complexes and all these other sorts of things that you'll pay to use. Pay to use. You no longer own Telstra, which used to be Telecom Australia. It was privatised. Then it was sold. You no longer own anything in your land anymore. It was privatised. It was too big to fail, remember? So it's propped up by your money in your government. Is it your government? Or are they taking your money to prop up their industries? And then this whole problem with your failing in your finances leads to immigration because they need more slaves on the farm. You're not enough. You don't pay your way. Now it's a pay-to-play situation. Those with enough money will do what they want and just pay the consequences, and everyone else will get squeezed and hammered by the police, who serve foreign interests. Who serve foreign interests, which you don't click. You never fucking click, do you? You think you can walk into their courtrooms and fight this with your incompetency. You don't stand loyal to anything. You aren't a brethren, a brotherhood, a people, countrymen. You aren't your Anzac anymore. You fly a flag your Anzac never ever flew. So how can you say you're in the lineage of your forefathers if you fly a flag that was introduced in 1954 as national governance when you're not national? You're federal. You don't understand. You're scrambling in your head right now thinking, what's he saying? It's too late. You lost. Give it to the Aborigine. Let them become the new IMF debtors. Let them take on all the debts for the next 50 years. Let them dismantle your entire Australian imperial crown. Let them take it all apart until you own nothing as a people. Then you'll figure it out when you're left on the streets like white South Africa, scrambling for food while they prop up the other side of your community and leave you with nothing. Then they'll blame it on you because you didn't play party slave to their system. You didn't provide enough wealth to pay off all their debts in a collapsing economy where you didn't even get a pay rise in accordance with the GDP. Oh, he's just rambling. Yeah, I am now, because I'm sick and tired of wasting 17 to 18 years trying to show you your crown, your Anzac, your flag, your foundations in God, while you serve Mammon every single day. Every day. You don't unite as brethren. You don't stand as the fathers of your houses. You don't bring your sons 20 years and older to the playing field. You abandoned it all to play scrambling for a breadcrumb on the floor after the war criminals that were in the ADF went to Afghanistan and murdered people they were supposed to peacekeep. You scramble for those crumbs wondering how you're going to get through while a government put you in that position. A foreign government under a foreign king. You can't fathom all of this. Oh, he can't be that. You won't be a people. How are you going to have a king? You haven't worked any of this out in 20 years. I showed you the foundation of God and you called it satanic. You are brainwashed. Completely brainwashed of your own heritage, your own lineage, your own ancestry, while they constantly try to turn you into a republic. While they constantly try and replace your preamble with their own. While they try to do that in a voice and install Aboriginal heritage in place of your Anzac heritage. And you sit there bumbling around thinking that politicians are allowed to commit acts of treachery against you because it's politics, right? I've had enough. I've totally had enough of watching you scramble around like retards, bogans, low caste bullshit in this country, while all those families out there suffer. They've had no help because of you, lawtarding your way around, encapsulating the whole entire paradigm of your history for yourselves. Well, they suffer. You can't educate them because you don't know fuck all. You can't show all those families why the RBA's twisting and putting the thumb down on them more and more, because you don't know fuck all. You can't talk about government and how it's gone outside of those Hague Conventions and pushed you around as the hostile state, because you know fuck all. I'm sick and tired of explaining it to you. I'm sick and tired of trying to show you where you're at and why you're there. I'm sick and tired of trying to give you the foundations of who you are as a people. You got no idea. Literally no idea why you're a ward of the state and called a national and held as a citizen. Held as a citizen of the United Nations national sovereignty, which totally negates everything signed in the Treaty of Versailles. No idea at all. Got to this point where I think you need to lose it. You need to become like South Africa. You need to be losing your homes. You need to realise why beer's $12 at the pub. You need to realise why cigarettes are now $110 a packet. You need to realise why food doubled in price. You need to realise what a petrodollar is. You need to realise all these things before something smacks you so hard you say, I wish I had have listened. I think you deserve to collapse into nothing and own nothing, because that's the only way you're going to snap out of the slumber, the great Australian dream that you've been dreaming for the last 80 years of peacekeeping, because you're not awake. They called you woke, remember? Because you talk all this bullshit instead of actually get to the reality of a blessing of Almighty God defined in your Constitution has to stand legally. It's a construct that is real in nature, where all your real property is defined, your land. And if you read the Hague Conventions, it's land warfare. A foreign power dictating your land, because you put your land up for a loan. You sent all your gold to London for them to hold while they lent you money. It's called collateral. And when you can't pay the interest on your loans because your government is inept and follows the bidding of foreign interests over and above yours, you lose it all. It's no longer your land. Land warfare squeezed every drop out of you to the point where you'll own nothing. And it's your own faults. Well, you all sit there blaming the WEF. All they're doing is planning for the day you fail. Queensland Police have been issued with 17,000 AR rifles and hundreds of thousands of bullets or ammunition to feed those rifles, and will have shoot-to-kill orders issued to them when you collapse. They're not planning against you, they're planning for your failure. And you haven't worked this out yet. You haven't worked this out at all. They're the ones that created the internet. They're the ones that gave you GPS in your phone. They're the ones that listen to your conversations. They're the ones that gave you all these spy cameras to install around your properties. They're the ones that listen to those cameras and those audios in your own homes. You haven't worked this out yet. It's unbelievable how dumb you all are. It is unbelievable how selfish you all are. Your Anzac are rolling in their graves right now while you all serve a flag foreign to them, out of lineage, not in your ancestry. You don't serve your Anzac. You serve an administrator under rules of usufruct. You serve a foreign power that brought its great white fleet through the door and pushed it on you via a pen. You borrowed money you can't pay back. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable how none of you can grasp this while you all whine about Epstein, while you all whine about the government, while you all think one nation's going to fix what they caused. Unbelievable. I just don't know what to say anymore. I've come to this point where you need to be told how stupid you are. Oh, but I used your stuff in a courtroom and the judge called it gobbledygook. You're a ward estate with no comprehension of your family estate. You don't know what a cesta-QV is and what being lost at seas actually means. You didn't return home. You scrambled around like Ward's estate, trying to tell the nanny that she was nannying you wrong. You didn't grow up to be the son and say, we don't need you in our house anymore, nanny. I grew up. Father's not come back from the war. I don't need to be nannied by you anymore. I grew up. You're incompetent, incapable, unknowledgeable. It's stupid. And your stupidity gave you everything you asked for. Gobbledygook. Of course it is. I pointed this out 10 years ago. I pointed this out when David Halpin, ex-magistrate of the Magistrates Court of New South Wales, committed a war crime. You can't fathom any of this. You cannot fathom what's going on. So you'll never ever fix it. You'll never ever be free. You'll never get your federal sovereignty back. You'll be forever managed by the United Nations until you're administered out of every single cent and asset on the land. Then you'll give up the land because you can't pay the interest off on your loans. You become a zombie society. Google zombie company. Google the rules of usufruct. Google it all. That's what you love to do instead of listen and learn. Go and scramble for every answer. Go and be a traitor to your Anzac in the process. Go serve that peacekeeping flag. Go serve those people that committed war crimes against you. Go serve those people that committed war crimes in foreign lands like Iraq and Afghanistan. You can't fathom any of this. So I don't know what to say anymore. I'm at the point now where I believe you're too stupid to realise who you are as a people. I'm of the belief now that you will always be the nannied state. You will always be the ward of the state. Ward of the state using taxpayers' money. What's taxpayers' money? Is that a different money supply to what's defined in section 115 of your constitution, while they manipulate your economy and hold you in captivity via a moneylender that dictated that you'll sell your land to foreign powers? You don't understand that the IMF put terms and conditions on the table with your loan like they did in Ukraine recently? You'll get all the money you want and all the weapons you want to fight your stupid war from the US president as long as you open up your land to foreign investment. Look at the way Trump treated that Nazi in control of the Ukraine. Oh, but he's a Jew, is he? He seems to serve those Avos Nazi powers. Does that mean that you won a war or lost a war? Because your enemy at the time was Japan, Germany, and the Vatican. And you ended up buying Japanese cars and German cars instead of Australian cars. Because all your mining went offshore under the Lima Agreement. You can't fathom how all of this has occurred to you because you scramble through the law like a bunch of bumpkin idiots. And then when we see you on the TV, you look like incompetent retards. Incompetent fools that look like lower class bogans. And that's not my fault. That's your fault. Howzers! Woo! Did you ever realise SBS was taking the piss out of all of you? And you took that and embraced it like it was your idol? Woo! We're all like that. Yay! They took the piss out of you. Go and watch Howzers again and you'll realise how dumb a comedy it actually is. Go and realise that they're mocking you. Right? No beef at the people that did it to you. They all live on the North Shore of Sydney. That was all filmed in Artarmon, not in Western Sydney where they portrayed what Western Sydney is and was. They're mocking you. You can't even fathom this. You embrace that whole lifestyle because you're poor. Poor of mind. Forget the money. You're incompetent, incapable, lower class tards. This is the stark reality. You're not going to help all those family Australians. You're in it for yourselves. And all a judge sees is someone that needs a guardian because they speak shit to a court instead of defend their country. Defend their country. Right? Aboriginals will starkly realise that they lack a defence force when they take everything over because like fuck will I ever serve that. Ever. All of the east coast of Queensland is battle installation towns for defence. All of them display the Australian Imperial Crown and know their ancestors. Do you think they're going to defend an Aboriginal continent? No. They're going to walk away from it and put their hands up and say, well, we lost. Like fuck are we going to defend that? Like fuck will we go to Afghanistan and be told that we're war criminals? So slowly your Australian Defence Force will become the Indian Defence Force because all those immigrants will take those positions while the Aborigines sit on their ass wondering what the fuck's going on. They got played, manipulated into all of this Aboriginal land trust stuff. And at the end of the day, who's going to defend it all? With guns and ships and planes and all the rest of it. An administrator that's going to close up shop and go, there you go, Mr. Aboriginal. It's up to all of you now. And the Aboriginal will turn around and go, I don't know how to run a company. I don't know how to run a company of men to be a war machine. That's your reality that you're walking into. Played by an Australian government. An Australian government that manipulates the executive branch into a referendum that doesn't clearly define any change they want to make because they want to undermine you in an act of treachery by removing your Anzac. And you aren't them. You aren't them. You aren't them. You fly a blue ensign with a 7-pointed star on it introduced by the Flags Act 1954 into national government. You were given United Nations national sovereignty, administration of all of your debts. You never stood up in the capacity of the people you are. You never spoke for all those families suffering. You never spoke up properly against why your house prices are going up, as well as everything else. You never realised the Currency Act, 1965. Go and look at the creation of the Currency Act and what the formation of the coins are supposed to be made out of. A $10 coin is supposed to be made out of gold. What's your $10 note buy you today? A $50 coin was supposed to be made out of gold. What's your $50 note buy you today? A $100 coin was supposed to be made out of gold. 1 ounce of gold per $100. What's your $100 note buy today? No idea, do you? No idea what that $100 note's worth in relation to one $100 coin. You got screwed by people that screwed you on purpose. You got manipulated by a moneylender who manipulates your money to the point where your houses become unaffordable. You got manipulated by a moneylender that you were directly warned against in the Bible. So do you deserve everything you've got while you sit there on the internet scrambling to find every little bit of lawtard? Scrambling over all the things they've done to you and whining about them? Nugget News likes to whine about all the things that happens to you. Topher Field likes to whine about all the things that happen to you. None of you will address why it's happening. None of you will stand up and realise it's up to you. Up to you. It's not up to Pauline to fix this. Pauline is governing you under the peril of her own life. Executive branch government is manipulating the House of Representatives and the Senate. You can't even see how or why. And you believe your vote is going to change anything at all. Has it done so in the last 80 years of peacekeeping? Or have you just been put under the thumb of the police while they fine you all the time for revenue raising? They human traffic you. So I give up. You don't want to know your foundations. You don't want to know how the blessing of Almighty God is involved in your constitution. You don't want to know how all these people have conned you. You don't want to know how poor you are. You don't want to know why you'll own nothing. You don't want to know any of this shit. You just want to plod along selfishly thinking you can get out of the stupid shit you get into all the time. Jesus said we didn't come to break the law, we came to fulfill it. And to recognise that the Australian government is nothing more than a foreign power, a money lender's administration under the Hague Conventions. The rules of engagement of being occupied by these people because you can't seem to realise that you keep putting your country into debt. You, not the politicians, you. You pay each other in shit. You accept that shit to be paid in. Right? None of you stand up and sell things for real gold and silver. No wonder all your businesses are closing. No wonder they've manipulated out of your marketplace and taken it over with direct to factory internet sales, cutting you all out of the loop. We don't need you anymore. This is why all your stores became factory outlets. direct from factory. No retail supply chain needed when it's direct from factory, and every store you walk into looks like a factory floor outlet. You can't figure this out? You can't figure out why the rest of the retailers put the price up on anything and it's better for you to buy it online, manipulated by big players that the government complains about but has no control over? More slaves to the farm. They'll buy more consumer products. They'll consume it all like locusts until there's nothing left, and you've left this 1% in control of not only your life, but your home and your food and your fuel and all these other things in a trade supply network. Because you defended nothing. You defended nothing. You didn't stand in the lineage of your Anzac. You didn't unite as a people. You remained the wards of state that the nanny government wants you to be, and you'll be divided by that nanny state into arguing with each other, which is why they brought all these hate laws out. Because you're going to start hating each other at the instruction of those politicians. Look at Pauline Hanson. Go, go, go. Got to hate the other side, right, Pauline? When you work for a foreign administrator under the rules of engagement called the Hague Conventions. Article 55. Hague 4, War on Land. Administrator under the rules of usufruct. But Steve's talking shit. All you want to do is use the lawtarding from Dick Yardley, Larry Hannigan, Sue Mains, and so on. Romney Stewart and more. All you can do is collate all these false ideologies together and walk into courtrooms thinking that you're not a ward of the state. And you haven't proven otherwise. What's your family estate? What's your coat of arms? What's your heritage? What's the oath of your fathers? What's the flag of your fathers? What's anything that's older than 100 years old? You've got no fucking clue. At all. And if you ask your children these questions, they'd whinge at you because the state indoctrinated schools have taught them all about compliance to the administrative state. Comply or die. Comply or go to jail and lose all your wealth. Who's going to look after all your things if they put you in jail? Do you understand that they've set this system up to manipulate you out of everything you are, and you sit there accepting it every day because you can't do anything else but lawtard together? You forgot. You abandoned it all. You gave it all up. You don't act like them. You don't stand in their lineage. You don't serve God. You don't serve the things that you call satanic. And I'm over it. This is where I come to an end and say, do you deserve everything you've got? Following idiots that can't tell you the truth? Then using those idiots' work in courtrooms thinking that you're the bee's knees, you're better than everyone else. Well, I've got news for you. You keep losing because of it. And every time you do this, you make it worse for all those families out there struggling to feed their children. That's what you are. That's what you became. Running around doing all this stupid shit. You never built up a community in yourselves. You never built up value in yourselves. You never defended each other's value. You laugh when people lose. That's what you became. Selfish individuals. I'm an individual, you can't fool me. An individual. That's all you became. You gave it all up. Your town community, gone. Council drives everything you are while you stay behind your fences and never associate with your neighbours. It's gone. You don't defend your town as a military unit and stand up against administrative powers that keep putting your town in debt. It's gone. You don't gather all those families together and make them realise why they're suffering. It's gone. So at some point, do you realise it's all your faults? Oh, but the government did this to us. No, the government came in after the fact and said, come on, little child, you need to be picked up. We'll help you pick yourselves up at your expense. Because that administrator never spends its own money on your administration. It uses your money to pay for that administration. It's gone. And it's your own faults for being this bogan group of people that think they're better than the courts, that think they're better than all of this stuff. Instead of standing united and being brotherhood together, instead of helping each other stand up, you leave your countrymen to fall and need to be picked up by the nanny state. Here, have some Centrelink, right? You need to sign up for this digital Centrelink food stamp ID for your food stamps, right? That's where you let everyone go because you're incapable of standing in your street and saying, hey neighbour, do you need some help? I'll make sure that you don't have to sign up with the government as a ward. I'll make sure that your children stand in their sovereignty in your family estate so they don't have to go and sign up as the government as a citizen. A ward of a foreign power that needs to be guardianed because you're poor, because you don't comprehend how to run your household, because you don't comprehend how to do all these things and not even need to speak about the government. But you're so brainwashed into politics, you're so brainwashed into voting for these people, you're so brainwashed into all this stuff, you never stand united. You're never loyal to something. You never ever are a people. You never ever come from the lineage of your forefathers. You abandon it instead to do that to each other. And I'm tired of it. After 17 years of doing this for you all, I think you're too dumb to realise what's going on. I think you're too dumb to stand up in your Anzac lineage. I think you're too dumb to give away your citizenship. Right? I've had to argue that multiple times in courtrooms after surrendering it to the court in the Northern Territory. That was in 2012. That's 20 years of not being reliant on the government. That's just not using all these things. Oh, but I have to do all these. No, abandon them. Surrender unto Caesar all that is Caesar's, and surrender unto God all that is God's. I just think you don't see the difference between the two anymore. I think you're so brain-trained into losing that you're willing to lose it all by arguing with people like Pauline fucking Hanson, a lying muppet that has manipulated you for 20 years into believing she will do anything for you. She's never done a thing for you except take your money in payment for her senator's seat. Career politicians that don't speak for their districts, they speak for their party policy. So you think your local member's ever going to speak for things about the local district he is obligated to serve? No, he serves his party policy as a career politician, and they never let anybody else in the door. They manipulate the voting by preferential voting. You can't work any of this stuff out. You keep playing the game. Around the monopoly board you go. Around the monopoly board you go. And if you ever read the rules of the monopoly board, if the bank runs out of money, it never runs out of money. It collates all of your debts, and as soon as you collapse, it pays off those debts with the assumed collateral, all your houses and properties. You were given games that told you what was going on, and you treated them like games. So your whole entire life became a game. Now, I don't know where to go from here. If you'd like to donate, that helps me to do whatever I do. But I've come to this realization that I can't keep going around in circles. There is enough evidence in all my videos to demonstrate what I've been saying, and only less than this many people have picked up on it. Less than this many people have picked up on it. That must mean that those people understand things and build up knowledge as they go. They don't see it as a TV show. They see that there is a reality being shown to them, and they're smart enough to collate that reality before they speak. You're scrambling because you got into shit in court and you want to fight those things in court. You'd have a much better chance if you stood up as a people together instead of individual retards that are wards of state that will never get out of that position unless you do something about it. Now, I use the donations to pay for the internet. I use the donations to travel around and speak to people. I use the donations to live while I do this. I don't have to do any of that. I can go and get a job. I can go and work for someone else. I can go and open up a business. I can do many things. I choose to do this and take up more of my time doing this because it's more important to the future of your country than letting you collapse into nothing. But if I hear one more time, I tried this in a courtroom and they told me it was gobbledygook, I'll just get enraged. You're stupid as fuck. Literal stupid people that aren't a community, that aren't defending each other, that aren't standing up together, that aren't propping each other up when you fall. There's no defense in anything you do. There's just hate. Hate breeds hate, right? And that's all you seem to do. So if you want to hear more from me, I'd like to see more t-shirts sold, and I'd like to see you stand up and speak properly instead of defending yourselves against your stupid shit in courtrooms. You have the opportunity to be that people. It's up to you. It's not up to me. You won't bag out all of the things that I've done because you're incompetent at doing them yourself. It's not my problem anymore. You deserve everything you've got. You deserve everything you are because you push those lies into a courtroom instead of standing up with the real facts. Shouldn't even be in a courtroom in the first place. Can't even keep your politicians accountable for the referendum on a voice or a push for a republic, which both seek to undermine your constitution, both being an act of treason at law. Right? You can't even fathom that. And I offered to do all of that for you, and the amount of donations that came in was enough to do nothing but pay for fuel and rego and internet access. I offered to stand in a courtroom and be that lawyer that I was told I was. I offered to put the facts down on the table in a very credible way that you're incapable of doing. Because you're all better than, aren't you, Romney Stewart? You're better than all of my ideologies. You found your little tidbit, and it's the bee's knees of tidbits, isn't it? But you forgave all the reality of the rest for your ego. Well done, Romney. Do you see what I'm talking about? You don't want to work together to be a people. You want to be better than each other all the time. And that served you so well for the last 20 years. What James Francis did in the courtrooms in 2009 just goes unnoticed. Unnoticed altogether. James was a former Victorian police officer with more than 35 years on the police force who brought to your attention the Australian Imperial Crown. I was working in Darwin and putting this stuff before a Northern Territory court at the same time that James was putting it before a Victorian court. You don't seem to comprehend that I served James for a reason. You don't seem to comprehend that I stood up in a courtroom and defended my family lineage over and above administrative government. You don't seem to comprehend that justice of the court in the Northern Territory walked out of the room. Walked out. And you've got all these answers in legislation to defend what happened without actually looking at what happened. Because you don't know. Got no fucking clue. No fucking clue. You love being administered. You love this Reserve Bank. You love these courtrooms manipulating you out of everything you are wealth-wise. You love it so much you fly their flag and hope that their politicians will fix all the things they've done to you in the last 80 years of peacekeeping. You love it so much you'll go off to Afghanistan and commit war crimes while under those rules of engagement. You love it so much you forgot everything you are, where you came from, why your Anzac were feared on battlefields around the world. You forgot all of that to be peacekeepers. Blessed are the peacemakers. They're the ones that come up to the peacekeepers and say, look at your war crimes. Look at you serving a moneylender. Look at you doing all of these things to your own country. And now that you've collapsed, does it seem real to you now? What I spoke 17 years ago after finding out about stuff in a council server is real? Oh, but he just wants to be this. No. I want you to realise that unless you become your Anzac, you lose. It's over. It's finished. It's gone. You've been manipulated out of it because you're too dumb to stand in it. Stand in it. We didn't come to break the law, we came to fulfill it. That might mean not ending up in a courtroom speaking all your garbage to a magistrate in the first place, and realising that all those law-abiding families out there are hurting because of the Reserve Bank and your treasurers that keep manipulating you out of your country with bonds. Bondage, slavery. Bondage, slavery. While they human traffic you around to raise money off you. And then they use the excuse for road safety. What they mean is, you're paying for your roads, and there's a saying in history, Rome will always build aqueducts. Well, I'll say this, your administrator will forever build highways for your safety, because you need to be nannied by the state for road safety. Is it starting to become apparent? I don't want to make videos about this stuff anymore. I'd really like to talk about the foundations of God that are found in the scripture. I'd like for you to comprehend how your Anzac laid a stone down in the ground in the very first place. I'd like for you to comprehend this. It's your claim of right. And what I mean by that is this. In 1919, on the 11th of the 11th, or 1918, because the Treaty of Versailles followed, they came to an armistice agreement at a specific date and time, and the guns fell silent as peace was declared. Peace was declared. We will no longer go to war for our debts. We will honour them. An international court was created in the Treaty of Versailles, and you became a sovereign, independent country. That building was then built in 1927 and finished in 1934, according to that time frame. On the 11th of the 11th, we shall remember them. It's your claim of right that is built in the timing of that peace agreement that you came to after you joined the League of Nations as a sovereign, independent country in 1919. Federal sovereignty under a military called your ANZAC, the Australian Imperial Force, the Australian Imperial Crown. It's your claim. How is it put there? I've tried to show you, but everything I show you gets mocked and called satanic. I've tried to show you how that aligns to your armistice and how that claim defines your reality in that armistice. But you mock it. You mock everything that is in that scripture. You mock it all to the point where you call it satanic. You mock it all to the point where you push your new age ideologies and then spit all your vile hatred at your own foundations, therefore forgetting. Lest ye forget was a warning. So if you'd like to donate, there's links down below. I'll start making videos again when you come to the comprehension that you're stupid is causing all your problems. You are disgraceful. You aren't with grace. You don't even understand that building. All you understand is that armistice. You don't understand how your sovereignty was claimed. You don't understand where your border came from. I'd like to discuss all these things, but I never get to. Because I'm always chasing my tail, trying to fix your problems all the time. Your false beliefs come into the frame before we even get to reality. Because you're so swept up in your lawtard. Oh, I've got to scramble every piece of the internet to try and get out of my court case. Why are you in court in the first place? Did you poison your land? Did you run away from the police? Did you not face up to your responsibilities? Did you do things that were shunned by the community and society around you? Did you do silly things like race 100 miles an hour down the freeway expecting to be free? All these things don't allow you to stand up against a government that's nannying the shit out of you. While you get nannied, you have no right to stand up and speak as men of God. While you fail to understand your shrine of remembrance, you have no right to stand up as men of God. You're men of mammon, what I call children of the government. Children at law, incapable of standing there and addressing a judge, incapable of putting magistrates onto the record before a judge, incapable of putting your politicians on the record before a judge, incapable of putting your police before the courts, before a judge. Oh, the courts are all manipulated and they don't listen to us. You speak bullshit all the time. You speak Romley Stewart, Larry Hannigan, Dick Yardley, Sue Mains, the list goes on. You don't want the truth. You want your snippets of law to be a hero, only to find out that you're an incapable child at law. And the judge sees it very clearly. It's in the way you speak. It's in the way you write. It's in the way you put your defense together. They see it so clearly that you need to be nannied because you're incapable of standing up. That's a lesson to be learned. They see very clearly what you are, and they're not going to change. It's up to you to change. You want to be Reserve Bank manipulated? Keep using their money. You want to be pushed around in international law by the United Nations? Keep flying their flag. You want to keep whining at your politicians? Keep believing in your politicians. You deserve everything you get. Everything. The rules were put on the table. You're an occupied country. For your debts. You're under administration under the rules of usufruct. For your debts. Oh, but the government put us in debt. No, they only hold 17% of the debt. The other 83% of the debt of this country is you. You. And what happened in Nazi Germany was they came and put all of those debtors into work camps, and they started to smash rocks to pay off their debts. But the pennies they earned every day weren't enough to pay the debts off. So they died in those camps. You got immigration detention centres. And if you look at Trump today, he's just put incineration facilities into concentration camps across America to get rid of medical waste and dead bodies. Why? Are you the new debtors that can't pay your debts off? So lastly, you could have supported a court case that's never going to happen anymore because $1,000 doesn't equal the million that's needed to go into that courtroom and use the media to speak what's going on in that courtroom. That's not enough money to even pay for a barrister to hold money. That's not even enough to involve a barrister who might want to stand up for his country as well. I'm just going to ask for donations to keep speaking. I have no other interest in playing this political game anymore. I have no interest in being Topher Field or Nugget News or any of these other idiots that push Pauline Hanson as your fix anymore. I'd like to show you your foundations in your country, but you don't want to learn. You mock everything that's shown to you, therefore demonstrating that you don't want it anymore, lest ye forgot. Well, you forgot. You forgot so hard that you mocked the very foundations that it is. So buy a t-shirt, drop some coin in a bank account, and I'll make more videos. But I'm not going back to talking about all the things that you continually fail on a cycle, round and round and round and round in this massive circle jerk. I'd like to discuss the treason that's occurred in the Parliament. I'd like to discuss King via Casement versus the Kisconsin trial. Because there's a stark relevance to both of them. Go and read King via Casement 1917 and you'll see that the Kisconsin trial is exactly that, but he's labelled a terrorist and not in treason. Why? Why? It doesn't come into your brains. You don't comprehend anything that's going on. Just go and read those two documents. And I'll tell you this. The dumb lower caste bogany low rung idiots that are in society trying to scramble out of their own poverty are never going to comprehend it. It's up to you intelligent ones to start discussing it with your other intelligent friends. These idiots that are beneath everyone are fucking it up for everyone. So it's up to you, the very intelligent ones that can speak and actually research and educate yourselves properly to discuss it with all those families that are suffering out there. It's up to all of you. It's not up to this lower caste idiot that got into trouble with the police because he did something wrong. Right? I don't want to defend any of that stupid anymore. So if we can attract a better audience, then you'll be better off as families, because you can educate each other as to what a reserve bank does to you and how it manipulates your economy. I'm happy to teach people, but I'm not happy to have all these idiots take my information and blame me for their own inadequacies. They're the incompetent, illiterate litigants. We only had to look at Desi Freeman. Go and look at the Wayne Glue video that I made about Desi Freeman and Wayne Glue, and you'll start to realise what an incompetent litigant is. You're allowing yourselves to fall into exactly that, and you're calling Desi Freeman a hero for being a retard. Literally being a retard. You have to get over that, above it. Become something better than that as a people. Otherwise, you aren't a country. They'll immigrate more people into this slave farm because they need more slaves to perpetuate the consumerism while they destroy everything around you to provide you with that consumerism. They need mines, agriculture, forestries and fisheries to pilfer and destroy to give you all the products that you don't need. So kind of understand what needs and wants are. Do you want that Ferrari or do you need it? Do you see what I'm talking about? I'd like to discuss the real finer details of your foundations at law so that you can speak for them against the criminal politicians that committed war crimes against you when they locked you down. I tried that. Nobody cares. You're all happy to be poisoned is what I'm getting at. Oh, there's nothing we can do about it. There's everything you can do about it. You just don't want to support those that were willing to do something about it. You gave up. You literally gave up. They poisoned your entire country with a jib jab, and you just went, oh well, so be it. It don't matter. Oh, I got to scramble to survive. It's just put it in the past. So you let war criminals do that to you, and then you ask the war criminals to fix the very things they did to you. Golf clap to you, right? Is that somewhat demonstrative of the fact that you're not willing to stand up for yourselves as a people and defend yourselves against the actions of war criminals, against the actions of people that wanted to undermine you and your constitution and your lineage out of your constitution, defined by a shrine in Melbourne, in a king's domain? A king's domain, that you want to walk into a courtroom as a lunatic and go, oh, he's my king, and then not be able to explain why, how, or what it means to you, and then see a magistrate just laugh at you because you're under administration, under the rules of usufruct. Tired of it. You deserve everything you've got. You literally do. And if you want some help, you help me with some coin. A couple of people have sent a silver dollar. That demonstrates to me that they've changed their ways and they've looked at this information and realised it's up to them, for their families, for their family bloodlines and their families' futures. Those are the ones that have demonstrated change in themselves for a better future without a moneylender. So that's all I can say. Donate away, buy a shirt, do all these things, help me out and I'll help you out. But if you're playing this stupid game, I can't help.